Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today I'm here with a Tip Tuesday video for you. In today's video, we're going to talk about what you can do when the lace on your wig starts fraying. If you have experienced this issue in the past, then stick around and see how I'm dealing with it on this wig right here. So this wig is BelleTress Lady Latte in the color Mocha with Cream. I've had this wig for a couple of years and I have a whole video series on this wig. It's the first heat-friendly wig that I ever really wore, and I did a 30 wear experiment with her, and I did a couple of updates during that time. So if you want more information on Lady Latte, then you can go to that series, and I actually have a heat-friendly playlist, and I can just link that in the description of this video so you can find it easily. But I had something happen to this Lady Latte in the very beginning when I first got her, and the lace started to fray. I actually think it came that way and I just didn't really notice it. There was some defect in the lace until it was too late. And I was devastated because I love this wig. But I've had this wig now for a couple of years. I've worn it 40 or 50 times, and I've noticed that it's really not getting worse. And I think the way that I'm managing it is actually helping keep it at bay. So I'm going to share what I'm doing with this wig. I'm also going to share what I've tried in the past with a different wig and how that went. Just as another data point for you guys, I'm not saying that I have all of the solution to fraying lace, and I imagine we're going to have some wig sisters leave comments below with their experience. So go ahead and read through the comments on this one because you might learn some tips that will help you. But let me show you the lace on this one. And I have not put anything in particular on the lace to stop it from fraying, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But this is the point right here. See all that? It's right there and it's right there. You can see the jagged edges. So I have trimmed this lace with a pinking shears, but I did that after the fraying started. So this fraying is not because I trimmed the lace. I wasn't trimming lace back then when I first got this wig. It was really early in my wig wearing journey. And so I trimmed it as in response to the fraying, trying to figure out how to fix that. And so that is just a tip on that. I know some people might say, well, when you trim your lace, then you cause it to fray. Actually, I trim my lace on a lot of wigs. Most of my Aesthetica wigs, I have trimmed the lace on those. And a couple of my Girl Monos, I've never had them fray, ever. And I've been trimming lace now for about 1.5 years. Not on every wig, but on a lot of them. And so I don't believe that that causes fraying, but that's not the issue here. So I had some advice at one point to use Fray Block, I think it was called. It's almost like a super glue for fabric, and you put it on there to stop fraying in certain fabrics. And so someone had recommended that in a Facebook group, and I did try it, not on this wig, but a different wig that I had, and I didn't think it worked very well. It didn't dry clear, and it created a whole clumpy mess because it doesn't just sit on the top of the lace. I mean, the lace has little holes in it, so it went through the lace and it made a little bit of a clumpy mess near the hair fibers. Now, if you've used Fray Block or Fray Stop or any of those products and it's worked for you, then definitely share what technique you used and how you were able to manage it. I think some of that depends on where the fraying on the lace is as well. So what I've done with this one is I've just trimmed that frayed spot back as far as I can without cutting into the hair. And I just use a tiny little scissors like this to try to get all of the jagged edges off as much as possible. So that's step number one, is just try to clean that up and try to get it back as far as possible. You might be able to trim it back beyond the point of the fray and stop it. I wasn't, and so that's what it looks like. But it does not appear to be getting worse. And here's why I think that. I use It Stays to adhere all of my wigs, and I really believe that putting the It Stays on and then adhering my wig is almost like a fray stop for this while I'm wearing it. And then when I remove it, I'm just very careful to make sure that I have saturated that part of the wig so I'm not pulling on it at all when I remove it. So let me demonstrate for you what I do. And let me talk about why I think it works for this one, but you could have a fray where this might not be a good solution for you. But let's just show you. So I have my It Stays, and I'm going to put it on, and I do have a video on It Stays and the removal of it, which if you are not familiar with It Stays, I highly recommend you go watch that video. This is my preferred way to adhere my wigs. Not only does it keep my wigs secure all day long, but it eliminates any itching or discomfort that I feel from wigs, because once it's adhered, there's no rubbing or moving. Even micro movements can cause discomfort and itch. And I know this because sometimes I'll throw a wig on to run a quick errand and I don't adhere it, and I cannot wait to get home and take that wig off because it's not comfortable. Not always, but some wigs worse than others. And I know it's because it's moving around even a little tiny bit and causing, especially as my hair starts to get longer from the buzz, I notice that it gets a little itchy and a little irritated. So It Stays, if you're dealing with itch on wigs, It Stays will totally help you. So you just roll it on, and you don't have to wait. I wasn't standing there waiting for it to start to get tacky. You can put your wig on right away. I was just talking, but so I put the wig on. And now I want to make sure I'm pulling on the ear tabs because I want this to lay really flat. So I'm trying to make sure it's really flat. And then I'm going to go over this part and I'm really going to press it. I want to make sure it's in the right spot. And I'm really going to press, especially in the spot of the fray. And I'm just going to hold it for a sec. Got a little bit extra there. Now, this lace has been cut back really far because I had to cut it back because of that fray. So I don't actually have much of a lace front on this one left at all. All right, so now it's not fully adhered yet. It probably takes about 5 minutes for it to completely dry and adhere. But you can go about whatever it is you're going to do while that's happening. You don't have to hold it down or anything. Okay, now, why do I think this is working? Number one, it's holding that lace in place. It's not moving around, so it's not going to make the fray any worse. Number two, the fray is actually over here where you can't see that lace. If the fray were right here, that might be a different story. That would be a different video trying to figure out how to disguise that because you can see this part. So I'm really blessed that the fray is in a part that you can't see. And I think that's, happens a lot. A lot of times it happens more on the sides from what I've observed. And so one thing that I just know that I can't do with this particular wig is I can't change the part anymore, because if I part it over here, then it's going to be where that fray is. This is a full mono top, so I should be able to change the part if I want to. I just have to accept on this one, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I wouldn't anyway. This is where I part my hair, and this is where I put the makeup so that the part line looks more realistic. So that's fine, but just know you may have to make some concessions if you have a fray on your wig. The other thing is, so typically when I adhere, I usually have more lace, first of all, to adhere, a little bit longer, because I don't cut them back this far typically, but I don't like to have the hair stuck down on my head when I adhere. So, I'm just adhering the lace and I'm making sure that the hair has free movement. In this spot though, I usually adhere a little bit of the hair too. I don't worry so much about getting that hair out of there, because what that does is it adds another measure of protection and coverage. And so I don't feel that fray. It doesn't feel any different. It doesn't feel rough or itchy. I don't notice it. The only way I notice it is when I'm looking at the cap and when I'm first putting it on. And so that's really it. And now I'm good to go. And, I'm not going to pull this whole side up, in a clip or anything like that. Although I did do that the other day. I took it and I did a twist. and then I kind of clipped it over to the side, and I just left some of this part of the hair down, and that worked just fine. So is it perfect? No. I do have more limited styling ability with this one because of that fray, but like I said, I've had this fray since the very beginning. Like, I noticed it the second time I wore this wig. I've since worn it for 50 times, maybe a few more, and it has not gotten any worse to the point where I can't wear it anymore. It might have gotten a tiny bit worse overall, but I can still wear it. It's still functional. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you find that you get a fray in your lace, first step is try to cut back that lace as far as you safely can to try to see if you can get past the point of fray. The second thing I would say is, even if you don't use It Stays to adhere your wigs generally, consider having a bottle of It Stays on hand for that wig, and then adhere it so that you protect that lace when it's on your head. Now, in my video where I showed you how to use It Stays, I show you that it's very, very easy to remove with just water. I just get a washcloth wet, and then I press that wet washcloth along the hairline to get it wet, and then that helps to release the It Stays. How much water you need to use will depend on how much It Stays you used and all of that, but basically you just let it sit for 15 seconds or so, and then you start to pull up, and if it lifts easy, then you've used enough water. If you feel resistance, then do a little bit more water. You don't have to be sopping and having it run down your whole face, just enough to really get that lace wet. And so in the case of one with a fray, I would be especially careful not to do any tugging at all. You should be able to get it wet enough that it comes off like there is nothing on there. So it shouldn't damage it any further if you're careful. So that's my tip for you guys. I hope this helped you. Again, if you have other experience, please put that in the comments. If I ever get a wig where the fray is in a place that you can see it, then I'll have an opportunity to do some experimenting, but I just don't have that right now, and I have plenty of other videos to make. I'm not going to create a problem like that in an old wig or something, at least not right now, and that may just be a problem I can't personally solve, but this one I feel like I can solve, so I wanted to share it with you. Let me know if you guys have questions. Let me know if this was helpful to you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help the algorithm to recognize that my videos are valuable so that when people are searching, they'll get recommended. Did you know that if YouTube isn't looking at your channel as valuable, even if you search my name and the wig name and they're in the title, sometimes they don't come up in the search. I've done that before looking for old reviews, and like the video I made was like 20th down in the search, and I put Denise Sheets Lady Latte or whatever. And so the more you guys show my videos love, the easier they are to find for others. So if you're getting value, then someone else will too. So please help that out. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped. I'll talk to you soon.